The Circuit Scribe editor opens with a blank canvas. To get started, I'll click the Add Modules button and the Modules overlay will open. Now I can resize this if I want to see more of them at once, or I can scroll around. So I know I'd like a few modules, and when I click on them, they load and attach to my mouse, so there may be a slight delay depending on your connection speed. I'd also like a potentiometer, so we'll click once and click once again. I'd like a DP/DT switch. And lastly, I'd like a motor. Now, to get the modules overlay to go away, I can just click on the canvas. I could also click on Add Modules again. I'd now like to connect the modules together using silver conductive ink. So I'll go to the conductive pen, and when I mouse over a terminal, it highlights. And when I mouse over another terminal, that highlights. And when I click again, they're now connected. So let's connect a few of these. And now's where it gets fun. If I click here, and again, I get a curved trace. So let's turn that off so we can select this, and I can move this around. And if I grab these control points, I can change the curvature. So let's get the conductive pen again and draw a couple more. And I'd like this one to come all the way around and connect to here, but when I do that, I sort of block this one and this one. Now, I'll just double click this and it will end. And if I select it to delete it, I can then press the delete button. And I can press undo to get that back. Or I can select it again and just hit the delete key on my keyboard. So I know I have one more trace I'd like to draw down here. And now I can do a neat trick. I can hide the modules. So let's go into View and Hide Modules. And I have the conductive pen. And I will click under here. And what I'm doing now is connecting the footprints of the modules. I don't have to view the modules themselves. Let's bring them back. And now we can hide that and we can start the simulation. And the motor spins. And if I grab the potentiometer, I can limit the current going to the motor and change its speed. And if I click on the DP/DT switch, I can change the polarity of the voltage going to the motor and make it go the opposite direction. I mentioned that modules have a footprint. And if I wanted to change a module, I could do it in an interesting way. I can stop the simulation, I can select the module, and I can move it away. And now you can see its footprint are these 4 connection points. So I can also select the footprint and I can move that. And let's hold down Shift and we have both of these selected, and then I'll delete them. Let's put something different in. I'll go to Footprints, and now I'm going to get a 2-pad footprint, drop it right there, and I'm going to go into Modules and I'm going to get an LED. There's the By LED, and you'll see that when I get this close, it will snap into position. Okay, so now it's in the right spot. And one other thing that's neat is if I click on the canvas, I can drag everything around. And if I use the scroll wheel on my mouse or 2 fingers on a trackpad, I can zoom in and out. So let's press Start Simulation again. And we see that the LED is lighting up blue because the current is flowing through the LED in this direction. And if I flick the switch, the current is flowing through it in this direction. I can change its intensity by limiting current to it. One other thing, if I wanted to rotate a component, let's stop the simulation, I can hit the Rotate button here. If I hold down Shift, it will rotate in counterclockwise direction. Or I can just click the R key on my keyboard. Let's start the simulation again. Now the LED is in the opposite configuration. So now that I have a working circuit, maybe I'd like to print this out and build it in the physical world. So let's zoom out and let's check out our paper settings. And by doing that, it opens up the paper view. Let's zoom a little bit. And the first thing we notice is that our modules are not on the paper. So if I hold down Shift and select, I can get everything and then I can move it to the middle of the paper. And if the paper wasn't the right size, I could go into paper settings and I could choose A4 or letter. Kind of depends on the country you're in. And we've given this little red outline as a guideline this is a great place to put everything inside of, and it will not print this on the paper. So now, if we go download PDF, the editor will start to generate the PDF, and let's open that. And now we have a printout that would let us take this and take our silver ink and draw in these lines. And then when we put modules down on the paper, we could recreate the circuit that we simulated in the physical world. So let's go back to the circuit. The last thing I want to do is I'd like to give this a proper name, because right now it just says the unnamed circuit. But I might want to call this my first circuit scribe. I can give it a summary, so I might say battery, pot, DP, DT, LED. And I could give it a more detailed description, and I could add tags. And what's really interesting is I could add someone to this if I wanted them to work with me on it. So like my friend Joshua Brooks, let's invite him. And when I select this and click invite, Joshua will get an email with a URL. And if he clicks on that, he will go back to this, which is the editor. And he and I will both be able to edit this at the same time, so we could see each other's mice moving around. So that's the basics of building a circuit scribe simulation. If you'd like to see more videos and learn how to build other types of circuits too, check out the Learn tab on the 123D Circuits homepage. Enjoy!